live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com. This is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
Oh, thank you, John. Oh, boy. Did you see the front page of the Ottawa Sun today? Isn't that a beauty?
Surfer dude. Hang 10.
What a jerk we have as Prime Minister.
Okay.
I mean, the guy, he's just a total, absolute freaking jerk. No other way to describe it. Buggering off to Tofino at our expense, by the way. And, of course, spreading CO2 emissions, helping to heat the globe up while he's doing it, while the rest of the country turns itself inside out to try and tell our Indigenous people how sorry we are about what happened at the residential schools. No orange shirts for our Prime Minister. Oh, no. A wetsuit instead, right? He looks so handsome in a wetsuit. What a kick in the teeth. Not only, I want to make this very clear, not only a kick in the teeth, a snub of the worst degree to the survivors of residential schools, but to the rest of the country, the rest of us, doing the best we can to start a new chapter in our relationship with First Nations. You may think what you like about what happened yesterday with yellow shirts and so forth, but the fact of the matter is that a good many people in this country do care, are sorry, and are doing what they can to try and remedy the situation. At least many of us were making an attempt, okay? But Trudeau, it's unbelievable. It's callous. It's arrogant. It's stupid. This is a man with absolutely no shame. I don't even know if the man understands the word shame. A man so arrogant, he believes that he can get away with breaking virtually every rule of common decency. Well, we really shouldn't be surprised. Isn't this guy dressed up in blackface upon occasion, stuffed a banana down his pants, made fun of black people? I mean, we shouldn't be too surprised if he breaks every rule of common decency. And you know what? He thinks that he'll get away with this. And I have to tell you something. He probably will. Let's face it. We Canadians know only too well how warped and shallow this son of a bitch is. Scandal after scandal. And we just say, oh, well, it's Trudeau. He's so cute. He's got lovely eyebrows, lovely hair, lovely smile. And when he smiles, he crinks his eyes so beautifully. Let's vote him back in. And we did. Trudeau no doubt knows that, there'll be a brief fuss about this little Tofino vacation. But as with the past, all will soon be forgiven and forgotten. Women in particular will flock to take selfies with him. I'm not trying to insult women. I'm just telling you the facts. You know by now that for every man that votes for Trudeau, about 2 women vote for him. He's so cute. There's more, of course, than just this trip. More that really reveals the nature of this warped, shallow individual. This guy is bent. There's something wrong. I said this a couple of months ago. There's something wrong with this man. Some of these things that he does just are not normal. And of course, it begs the question, what the hell's with the people around him? Do they not sort of, did nobody in his office, Butts or whatever the hell his damn name is, all those people that we pay all the big bucks to, did nobody ever take him aside and say, you know what, Justin, I know you'd like to get away. I know you've had a rough time with the election and all, but maybe you should delay it a day. Maybe what you should do today, it's National Truth and Reconciliation Day, declared by you, by the way, national holiday for federal public servants. You told us all to treat this very soberly, how sorry we were. It just might look a little, maybe just a little off center if you take off for a vacation rather than, what you should probably do is attend some of the functions, maybe in Kamloops at one of the mass graveyards. They're asking you, they've asked you a couple of times there. Maybe you should do that. Did nobody in his office tell him that? Because if they didn't, then I think we'd better have a whole look at the entire office here. Is there anybody with a brain anywhere in the office? I suspect that they did. And you know what? He is so arrogant that he probably just said, screw it, or words to that effect. I don't care. I'm Justin Trudeau. I'll do whatever I want. If people don't like it, well, they can vote against me, which they did not do. So, but one of the things that really bothers me is somebody somewhere must have known that maybe this is not the best thing to do. Why? Well, because they tried to cover it up. The web of deceit. Because the itinerary that was released to the media indicated that Trudeau on National Trust or Truth and Recreation or whatever day, Reconciliation Day, that he would be in the office. He would be doing, office here in Ottawa. And it wasn't until, I guess, a very alert reporter, we've got, one or two in the country, I guess, spotted the company jet. Well, that would be our jet. We own the jet. We pay for it, etc. Headed west. And as usual, I mean, that jet is usually the one that Trudeau travels in. So he did a little bit of checking around. Oh, my goodness. So Trudeau has rounded up his entire family, and he's headed off to Tofino. So once this news came out, well, then they changed the itinerary, and said, no, he was going to be meeting with a number of survivors of residential schools in the West. So then I guess somebody, a photographer, caught the son of a bitch strolling along on a Tofino beach in a wetsuit. So he wouldn't comment. They asked him, I thought you were meeting with survivors. He wouldn't comment. And then the office put out this, I think, outrageous lie that he spent some time on the phone with survivors. So it's evolved from he has multitude of meetings here in Ottawa with survivors, etc. He's going to lead the nation in this somber marking of the day, okay? He's going to meet a number of people out on the West Coast, survivors on the West Coast. And then that evolved to, well, he spoke on the phone with a number of people. I mean, what bullshit. I mean, folks, this is the Prime Minister of Canada. This is our esteemed leader. This is the man that's supposed to set the example. This is the man who declared National Truth and Reconciliation Day and gave all federal public servants in the land the day off. Cost us, what, $300, $400, $500, $800 million or more. I mean, and what does he do? And by the way, he was invited apparently not once, but twice to attend some ceremonies of some kind. One in Kamloops, the mass graveyard that we found, and another one elsewhere. He didn't even buy, you know what? He's so arrogant. He's such a prick. He didn't even respond. Sorry to use the language, folks, but I've had it. I've had it right up to there. This guy represents me. This guy represents you. He's Prime Minister of this country. What he says and does reflects on us all. Don't ever kid yourself. Okay, particularly people in foreign countries, when they see the Prime Minister doing things like this, they assume that that's all Canadian. I mean, we voted for him. Oh my goodness, John, we have what have we got? A phone call or
your friend Nick, formerly of Eganville, he says, is on the phone.
Okay, hi Nick. What's your take on all of this, Nick?
Well, first of all, it's not Eganville, it was Killaloo, and now I'm living in Pickle Lake.
I beg your pardon, Nick. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
Pickle Lake, hub of the world. Hub of the world, Pickle Lake. I know it well. Where the hell is
Yeah,
it?
so do I now. Anyway, you sound. I share your frustration. It's enough to pull your hair out. This guy, and I think I can say this in all honesty. Since 2015, when Stephen Harper told us he wasn't ready, I've been saying the same thing, and I'm sure you have too.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Trudeau is so much more than just a joke. If you look at some of the stuff that's gone on the international stage, never mind COVID, never mind any of that other stuff, but the international stage, the United States just signed a deal with Australia about nuclear-powered submarines and called them the United States' best friend. Well, that's been our title for as long as we've been neighbors.
Yes.
Well, what changed? Well, what's changed is we have an idiot for a prime minister. And when the world looks around on the world stage and they see him behaving in the ways that you're describing, it's not a wonder nobody wants to have anything to do with this anymore. It's not a wonder China's pulling our strings all over the place, because he's not fit to be a used stock salesman, sorry.
I couldn't agree with you more. But one of the things, Nick, that I find astonishing is that there are all kinds of people trying to make excuses for this. John, you fill us in on that. You had some people this morning trying to excuse what he's doing here.
Oh, absolutely. Being too harsh on him. Stop picking on him. He had a long election campaign. He deserves the break. Blah, blah, blah. You guys are just picking on him because you're staunch conservatives. He can't do anything right. No. No.
Yeah, but you know what the sad part of all this is, guys, is the fact that even if Aaron O'Toole had won, would things be that much different? I've had a problem with Mr. O'Toole for quite a while, because when you look at the platform policies, or the policies that they're bringing forward, their platforms, is it any different than what the Liberals showed?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of difference. There's a lot of differences, many differences. But I'm going to tell you this: whatever you think about Aaron O'Toole, I'll tell you this: he would not be off surfing in Tofino on National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Aaron O'Toole is a decent man. He is not warped. He is not bent. He is a decent human being. And I'm going to tell you this: any decent human being would not do what Justin Trudeau has done.
On that, Lowell, you and I are on exactly the same page. Even no matter what I think of Aaron O'Toole, you're right. If he calls a national holiday for this, then he's going to participate. He's going to find a reservation somewhere, or make some kind of, representative situation, so he can symbolize the way the country feels about this scenario.
Precisely.
And this guy, Trudeau, like I said, couldn't sell you socks to a barefoot man. It's ridiculous.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick. The next time you phone, would you please have an open? Thank you for your call.
Can I just ask, Nick, if you're still there, people are asking, what is the name of your podcast and how do they find it?
Oh, it's the Nick and Joe. It's the Nick and Joe Show. It's at thinkradio.ca.
There you go. Done and done. Thanks, Nick, for the call.
Every Wednesday night.
It's competition for us, but we're above this petty jealousy stuff. Thank you. Nick and I don't agree on everything, but Nick's a pretty decent guy with a very good brain as well. Thank you very much, Nick. Call anytime you like, sir. I'm going to leave this for now, but do we have any other people? Like, is there anybody else that's concerned about this, John? Or are you and I the only ones?
No, we got loads and loads of texts. Here we go. Buckle up. Jennifer says, first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, and this elitist prick tells us all from his phone aboard his jet on the way to have a family fun day on the beach that we need to reflect. Why people can't see that he doesn't give a flying F about our country and its people is beyond me. Ivan, I believe this is the first time we've heard from you. Welcome to the show, and thanks for your comment. You remember when the old man Trudeau gave people the finger. The election's over. We're getting the finger. He could care less. Anne says, not just Trudeau, all the people in his party said zip. Greg says, okay, now what about the idiots who voted for this fluke? Stephen, I believe this is the first we've heard from you as well. Please name a prime minister who went on vacation on Remembrance Day. Trudeau's actions just solidify how he just does as he pleases and doesn't care what Canadian citizens think of him. Cheryl says, Justin doesn't give us sweet flying fox fart, guys. After 6 years, Canadians should have known better. What is it going to take? Another comment says, they can't tell him no. Remember what Jody said. He's the boss. They owe their jobs to him. If they say no, they get the door. Imagine how many other days on his agenda say he's in meetings.
You know, and this, among other things, this proves that this prime minister, despite all his protestations, he doesn't care one bit about Indigenous people. He doesn't care one bit about what happened in the residential schools. Remember that photograph of him kneeling at a gravesite with a teddy bear? And a beautiful photo op, you know, what a phony bugger. I mean, that very clearly he doesn't care. I mean, this should not surprise us. How many years has he been in power now? How many years has he failed to provide clean drinking water to more than 50 native reserves? 6 years. This guy's had 6 years, and they still have more than 50 native reserves where they do not have clean drinking water. If this man cared a whit about Indigenous people or anybody other than himself, that he would have fixed that problem long ago. Unbelievable. What a phony, lying son of a bitch. I'm sorry. I'm not a profane man. I've said that before. But this man when it comes to this man, he just forces me to pull out the stop. I'm calling a spade, and by God, when I say he is a phony son of a bitch, that's exactly what he is. And this proves it. And you know what? He's still going to have all kinds of people trying to make excuses for him. I don't understand you liberals. I have friends who are liberals. I don't understand how you can put up with this. This is your leader. This is the man that sets the rules for you, that establishes behavior. This is the man that sets the moral compass for the country. God help us. God help us. Because I don't see help coming from any other direction. Shields. You don't need help if you deal with Shields. I'll tell you right now. They provide all the help you need. Go to their website. There's an example of the kind of thing. Furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Yeah, I failed to mention the fact that they do have a very large assortment of electronics, and the service is very good there as well. But appliances, these are the chief appliance people, as far as I'm concerned, in this part of the country. Huge warehouse, most of the appliances, all the different brands, price ranges, colors, styles, modes, etc., in stock, so you won't have a long wait. And don't forget, you're dealing with a local company since 1947 in the same family. Grandpa, father, and now the son. Shields.ca. You'll save yourself a good deal of money as well. Just check them out, folks. You'll see all of the appliances, as I say, all of the colors, all the styles, and the savings at Shields. John, more texts from you.
Over on Twitch, Chrissy says, shows where his priorities are. If Gord Downey of the Tragically Hip were alive, all the work that Gord did, I'm sure he's turning in his grave. I love that comment because I remember Gord Downey at the final concert saying, pointing to Prime Minister Trudeau, saying, this is the man to get it done. This is the man to get it done.
Yeah, right.
Christine on Facebook says, in The Citizen, it ends the report by saying Trudeau has not had a holiday since he kicked off a 5-week campaign. Oh, boo-hoo, says Christine. We have a text from Barry at 613-413-2217. Lowell, the laws should be changed so that a prime minister has to fly in an airline and pay his own carbon tax through his ticket price and not on Can for One with the taxpayer paying for the fuel and the carbon tax, not to forget that he did it on Reconciliation Day and put shame on the position he holds. Keenan says the outrage is confusing. You hate the kneeling and the teddy bear, but sounds like you wanted him to do more of that yesterday. But yes, your point is sound, says Keenan. Tom says, and he couldn't wait one more day to do this. Ray says, isn't it ironic that the federal government, who are responsible for the residential schools, is rewarded with a stat holiday? Some of the comments on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter.
I have another topic here.
Yes, sir.
I have long maintained it's a crazy world. And just to prove it, let's very briefly have a look at the situation involving optometrists in Ontario. They're in some kind of dispute with OHIP right now. I don't know what it is. There's always disputes underway, but they have withdrawn services to those who eye care is paid for by OHIP. Translation: everybody age 65 and over. Are you aware of this? Did you know this, John? My
No.
wife went. My wife went the other day. Couldn't get eye care. Why? Well, because she's over the age of 65, and people over the age of 65, OHIP picks up the bill. It's one of the few advantages of being over the age of 65. But because the optometrists are in a dispute with OHIP, they won't accept payment for OHIP. Well, says my wife, look, I need whatever it was. I'm prepared to pay for it out of my own pocket. Nope, you can't do that.
What?
Wait a minute. So you won't accept payment from OHIP, and I can't pay for it out of my own pocket. The law, because this would be deemed, I guess, private health care, she can't pay for it out of her own pocket. So everybody, I want you to know, folks, everybody over the age of 65 in the province of Ontario, eye care is not available to you. If you're 64 and if you're 64, you pay for it yourself, right? You can do that. But if you're 65, you can't pay for it yourself. And OHIP won't, they won't accept payment from OHIP. You don't think this is crazy? I mean, this is nuts, absolutely nuts. I just throw that out because it surprised the hell out of me. And I suspect that most people aren't aware. I'm sure that if you're over 65 and you try to book an appointment with an optometrist, that you probably were surprised to find this out. John, any more texts on any of this?
Yes, absolutely. Chrissy says that's bullshit. Who made that call? What the heck? Lynn says Ontario hasn't given the optometrists a raise in many years. Tom just got a call about a half hour ago from his optometrist. He says his appointment for this week was canceled because of this dispute. Chrissy adds, diabetics need an exam every year. OHIP covers it. Now what? And Deborah says the Ontario government was right not to declare Truth and Reconciliation a holiday. The schools did more to raise awareness of residential schools and injustices than a vacation or a shopping trip. Costco was a zoo, she adds. Carrie says what OHIP wants is a fair price for services due to the cost of their equipment. Some of the comments on eye care.
I'm not suggesting that the optometrists don't deserve a raise. I'm not suggesting that, although I mean the province.
But won't take your money?
But I'm not sure whether this is ruling by or just decision by the optometrists or if it's the law. I am not sure. I'm unclear.
Okay.
All I know is that they won't accept OHIP payment and they won't accept money from your purse. So if you're age 65 or over, there's no eye care available to you. As I say, if you're 64, then you pay out of your own pocket. But if you're 65, you can't.
You're SOL. Wow.
I mean, it's absurd. There's no other way to describe it. And I'm not sure who's responsible or who's right, who's wrong, et cetera, et cetera. All I know is that if you're age 65 or over, we're the ones that pay the price. Okay, no question about it. Now, on a different topic, I have one other topic. I for the better part of about 10 years now, certainly since Trudeau took over, I have been warning that we're playing with fire. In fact, Pierre Poilievre is talking about this as well. Playing with fire by running up huge debts because the justification has been the interest rates are so low. Pierre Poilievre has been warning, and I have joined him in this. You know what? These interest rates cannot remain low forever. They're going to go up. And when the interest rates do go up, look out. I can remember the time, and I've talked about this, when interest rates in this country went to 18 and 19%. I had to pay a mortgage. I'll never forget it. It was 18.49%, a mortgage on a cottage property. Bank loans with 17, 18%. This was to fight inflation. So I have been warning that, look, you're running up all of these debts now. You're laughing because you say interest rates are so low. Now is the time to borrow. Yeah, but now it's begun already. Bond yields have begun to increase. Now, I know this is very sophisticated. I don't quite understand it myself. All I know is that when bond yields begin to increase, this is always in response to inflation. In other words, as inflation increases, then bond yields increase. And when bond yields increase in price, the interest rate generally goes up. And guess what, folks? TD has become the first bank to announce that it is increasing its mortgage rate on 5-year fixed mortgages. It's presently, or was, 1.99%, record low. Now it's gone to 2.29%. Not much of an increase, but still, this is the start, I believe, of an avalanche. So God help people who've got $1 million mortgages out there, and we're able to do it because the interest rate was 2-3%. Very soon, I'm telling you right now, very soon, interest rates are going to begin to go up on mortgages, and I suppose in many ways, even more importantly, interest rates. Now, can you imagine? I mean, the national debt, Trudeau's debt, is now well over $1.4 trillion, soon to be about $1.5 trillion. Already, total interest payments for all federal and provincial debt, total interest payments in Canada are now about $50 billion a year, almost $1 billion a week going out in interest payments now. When the interest rates go up, those payments are going to go up. Where's the money going to come from? I don't know. All I know is that sooner or later it's going to happen. You know, you can only play with fire so long. Sooner or later you're going to get burned. And I'm afraid that's what's happening. John, any more texts, any comment on any of this?
Kathy says mortgage holders won't realize the high interest rates until the mortgage comes up. Keenan says, the 80s. I remember that. My grandma gave me a Canada savings bond that paid 20%.
Hold on, just a minute. Hold on.
Yep.
That's true. But if you're just signing a mortgage, if you're just buying a house, don't forget that. Now already, 5-year fixed, the rate's already gone up, and it will go up elsewhere and will continue to go up. So don't ever kid yourself. Go ahead, please.
Back to Keenan's comment. He says, yes, the 80s, grandma bought him a savings bond, paid 20%. Probably we're not going there, however, but yes, a good time to clean up your debt, folks. Deborah says, many homeowners handed in their keys and lost their homes. In 1981, our renewal interest was 21%.
Wow.
Kathy, yeah, that's credit card interest rate stuff there. Kathy says, I remember RRSPs were 10% interest. And April just chimed in moments ago to say governments don't listen to good financial experts. They react in panic. We will never recover from the debt we already had, never mind all the artificial money.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying to you is that the interest rate increase, this I believe is the first increase in several years. Could be wrong. I'm not a financial expert. All I know is that the TD Bank has just increased 5-year fixed mortgage rates. Other mortgage rates will have to go up. And if mortgage rates go up, interest rates on debt will soon start to go up. They may already have started. I don't know. So I just throw this out, folks. I'm not trying to panic monger or anything else. I think, you know what, and most people understand, and at least those who have a modicum of understanding about anything, understand that you don't get a free ride forever. We've had a free ride for a long time. We're close to a free ride on interest rates. That cannot continue. I mean, common sense dictates it cannot continue, and it's not going to continue. Just I'm concerned about, ordinary people, their debt, the mortgages and so forth, but I am really concerned about the national debt. $1.5 trillion. How the hell, if interest rates were to go up, let's say 5, 6, 7%, which would not be unusual in this country, this would mean that instead of paying $50 billion a year in interest, we'd have to pay about $100 billion in interest, about $2 billion a week in interest. Just think of the ramifications of that. That's money that's not available for homeless, not available for health care, not available for education, not available for roads. It goes, interest on government loans go essentially to rich people and rich institutions. Ordinary people, you and I, we can't afford to loan government's money. Hell, most of us can't even afford to buy a pound steak, right? So let alone loan government money. So the interest rates, this is the cruelest way that we have of taking money from working class people and giving it to rich people. Interest rates on the debt. Don't ever forget. People say, oh, well, our grandchildren, great-grandchildren can pay the debt. Yeah, they can pay it in 100 years. But today we got to pay the interest. That's the problem. John, any other comments on any of this?
Just one. Chrissy says, I'd love to learn more about Bitcoin currency. That seems to be what people are into these days. I don't know if it works or not. I don't know a damn thing about it. Can't help you there, Chrissy.
All right. Well, we're almost out of time here. So once again, just want to thank everybody for we love your comments. We wish they had more. We love to have a few more phone calls. I mean, that's what this program does. But thank you if you took part. If you're listening, thank you all. We'll be back on Monday.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. This is a production of blasttheradio.com.